Hello there! First and foremost, I would like to introduce myself. I am Javier Tadle and I'm your storyteller today. And I'm really glad all of you to hear my collection stories in different situations. The first story is the Golden Swan, followed by the Golden Egg, and lastly is the story of Rapunzel. I hope all of you are listening this story. Are you ready, children? A short story, The Golden Swan. Long time ago, there lived a king. He was lazy and liked all the comforts of life. He never carried out his duties as a king. Our king does not take care of our needs. He also ignored the affairs of his kingdom. The people complained. One day, the king went into the forest to hunt. After having wandered for quite some time, he became thirsty. To his relief, he spotted a lake. As he was drinking water, he suddenly saw a golden swan come out of the lake and perch on a stone. "Oh, a golden swan! I must capture it," thought the king. But as soon as he held his bow up, the swan disappeared, and the king heard the voice. "I am the golden swan. If you want to capture me, you must come to heaven." Surprised, the king said, "Please show me the way to heaven. Do good deeds, serve your people, and the messenger from heaven would come to fetch you to heaven," replied the voice. The selfish king, eager to capture the swan, tried doing some good deeds in his kingdom. "Now, I suppose a messenger will come to take me to heaven," he thought, but no messenger came. The king then disguised himself and went out into the street. There, he tried helping an old man. But the old man became angry and said, "You need not try to help. I am this miserable state because of our selfish king. He has done nothing for his people." Suddenly, the king heard the golden swan voice. "Do good deeds, and you will come to heaven." It dawned on the king that by doing selfish acts, he will not go to heaven. He realized that these people needed him, and carrying out his duty was the only way to heaven. After that day, he became a miserable king. A short story of the golden egg. Robert, a poor barber, lived alone in his small hut. He was dedicated to his work, and whatever he earned was too enough to fulfill his needs. One morning, after returning from work, Robert was hungry. "What I shall cook tonight?" he thought. Just then, he heard a hen clucking outside his hut. "That hen would make a great feast for me," thought Robert, and prepared to catch the hen. With a little effort, he was able to catch the hen as he was about to kill the hen. It squeaked, "Please, do not kill me, O kind man. I will help you." Robert stopped, thought he was surprised that the hen spoke. He asked, "How can you help me?" "If you spare my life, I will lay a golden egg every day for you," said the hen. Robert's eyes got widened in delight. Robert was surprised to hear this promise. "A golden egg? That too every day? But why should I believe you? You might be lying," said Robert. "If I do not lay a golden egg tomorrow, you can kill me," said the hen. After this promise, Robert spared the hen and waited for the next day. Next morning, Robert found a golden egg lying outside his hut and the hen sitting beside it. "It is true! You really can lay a golden egg!" exclaimed Robert with a great delight. He did not reveal this incident to anyone, fearing that others would catch the hen. From that day onwards, the hen would lay a golden egg every day. In return, Robert took a good care of the hen. Very soon, Robert became rich. But he became greedy. He thought, "If I cut open the hen's stomach, I can get out of the golden egg at once. If I do not have to wait for the hen to lay a golden egg one by one." That night, he brought the hen to the interior portion of his house and killed the hen. But to his dismay, he found no golden eggs. What? Not even one. "What I have done! My greed had made to kill the hen," he wailed, but it was too late. Oh no! The story of Rapunzel. Once upon a time, there was a woodcutter and his wife who lived in a small house high on a hill. The house overlooked a vast, dark forest, and the edge of the forest lived an enchantress, who had a great power and was feared by everyone in the kingdom. The enchantress had a beautiful garden, full of sweet-smelling flowers and herbs. The woodcutter's wife would often stand on a hill and look down at the garden with envy. Nothing would grow on a hill where she lived. The earth was hard and stony. The wife wished that she could have a beautiful, sweet-smelling garden just like the enchantress. One day, the wife was looking down into the garden when she spotted a row of tall plants with the white leaves and purple flower. "Rampion!" she gasped. "Oh, how their sweet roots would taste delicious with some vinegar and pepper." Her mouth was watering at the thought, but there was no way the nasty enchantress would ever share the delicious rampion with her. "What are you looking at?" asked the woodcutter one day. His wife replied, "Look there, those rampion in the garden. For a few days I have desired them. Please, ask the enchantress if she would give me some." The woodcutter shook his head and laughed. "I hear the last person who went to see the enchantress was turned into a toad. You won't see me going anywhere near her front door." The wife grew miserable. Her simple meal of porridge and thin, watery stew just weren't the same. She wanted more. "If you really love me," said the wife to her husband, "you would go to the garden and give me some of that sweet-tasting rampion. The enchantress will never spot at some of it has gone and missing. And I will able to make us a delicious supper." The woodcutter's belly rumbled at the night. He was frightened of the enchantress and her great power. But perhaps, if he stole the rampion at the night, no one could notice. And that's exactly what he did. At midnight, he climbed over the low wall into the garden. Grabbing hold of leafy stalk, he began pulling up the rampion from their earthy bed. He licked his lip when he saw the thick, white root would taste so good with some vinegar and pepper. "Thief!" shrieked a voice that made a woodcutter jump. He dropped the rampion and turned to see the enchantress watching him, her arm folded across her chest. "How dare you steal from my garden?" "Please," begged the woodcutter, "don't turn me into a toad. My wife saw the rampion growing in your garden and has longed for it ever since. Nothing will grow on our hard, stony hill. Please forgive me." The enchantress nodded, her scroll turning into a sly smile. "You are forgiven. Take as much of rampion as you can carry." The woodcutter eyes almost popped out his head. "As much I can carry?" he gasped. "Yes," snapped the enchantress, "but one condition. You must give me the child that your wife will bring into the world. It will be treated, and I will care for it like a mother." The woodcutter was so afraid that he nodded in agreement. "Yes, yes, I promise," he croaked, rapidly stuffing the rampion into a cloth sack. He just wanted to get as far away from the scary enchantress as he could. And so, the wife got her rampion and tasted even better than she had imagined. Days turned into weeks and weeks became months as the winter snow began to fall. The wife gave birth to a baby girl with the big blue eyes and puffy blonde hair. She named the girl Rapunzel. The couple were delighted, but their joy was to be short-lived. Keeping to her bargain, the enchantress came to the house and took the baby away. The woodcutter and his wife were heartbroken, but they knew they could never go back on a promise. In time, Rapunzel grew into a beautiful young woman. She lived in the house on the edge of the forest with only the enchantress for company. She often looked out of her window and wondered who lived in a small house perched on a hill. One day, Rapunzel asked if she could go and visit. The enchantress was angry and took her deep into the forest instead. There, Rapunzel was shut away in a dark tower that had neither stair nor door, just a narrow little window for Rapunzel to look out of. "You will stay here," commanded the enchantress. "When I want to visit, I will call, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair, and you will do as I ask. Rapunzel had magnificent long hair, as fine as spun gold. Whenever she heard the voice of the enchantress, she would let down her braided hair and the enchantress would climb up. It reached the window. She would bring Rapunzel bread and water, but no comfort of love. One day, the king's son was riding through the forest. He stopped when he caught the sound of voice, rising in song. It was coming from an area of the forest he had never been to before. He dismounted and led his horse between the dark trees. Following the beautiful song, he emerged into a clearing. It as the center as the tall stone tower. Rapunzel was leaning out of the narrow window, singing a sad melody softly to herself. On seeing her beauty, the prince immediately fell in love with her. "Who are you?" he called. But Rapunzel did not answer. She was afraid the enchantress would punish her if she spoke to a stranger. The prince looked for a door to enter the tower, but there was nothing, just cold, dark stone. Scratching his head, he backed away from the tower. "This is a strange puzzle," he declared. "I can see how I can climb up to the window. It's up far too high." At that moment, he heard the crunch of leaves, leading his horse behind a tree. The prince hid from view. Just an evil enchantress stepped from the forest. "Rapunzel, Rapunzel," she called, "let down your hair." Immediately, Rapunzel let down the braid of her hair. The witch climbed up to her and disappeared into the tower. The prince waited patiently until the enchantress repaired and climbed back down again. "Aha!" thought the prince. "So that is how I will reach my heart's desire." Once the enchantress had vanished into the forest, he walked up to the tower and called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Immediately, the hair was lowered. With a smile, the prince climbed the tower. When she reached the window, Rapunzel gave a shriek. She was expecting the enchantress, not a young handsome man. "Rapunzel," he said, falling to his knees, "please let me take you far away from this horrible tower. Let me be your husband and love you for as long as I live." Rapunzel had never heard such a kind and tender words before. She lost her fear and burst into tears. "Yes, please, take me away. Far, far away." But there was a problem. "How will I ever get down from this tower?" sobbed Rapunzel. "You can climb down my hair, but I cannot follow." The prince comforted her. "There must be a way." Rapunzel suddenly gave a gasp. "Wait, I have an idea. Bring me some silk, and I will weave a ladder with it. When it is ready, it will be able to climb down from this horrible tower. Then we can both ride away from here, far, far away." The prince leaned forward and kissed Rapunzel on the cheek. "I will do as you ask. Do not despair. Soon you will be free." "Oh, thank you, brave prince." Rapunzel lowered her hair, watched as he climbed back down. Mounting his horse, the prince set off for home. He did not see the enchantress watching him from the shadows. Angrily, she marched up Rapunzel's tower and struck at the top of her voice. "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Too afraid to do otherwise, Rapunzel lowered her plaited hair. The enchantress climbed up. And when she reached the tower's room, she cut off Rapunzel's hair with a swish of her knife. "Wicked child, you have deceived me on how you will be punished," Rapunzel begged and pleaded, but the enchantress was too angry to listen. "I will banish you to the desert where no one foolish enough to tread. There you will live, all alone, under the baking hot sun." With a wave of her hand, the enchantress cast a spell. Rapunzel vanished in a blink of an eye. All that was left of her was a golden braids, lying on the floor. The enchantress snatched them up. "Now I will teach that lovesick prince a lesson." At dawn the next morning, the prince arrived at the tower with a bundle of silk. "Rapunzel, Rapunzel," he called, "let down your hair." The golden braids fell down from the window. Eagerly, the prince clambered up to the tower window. However, instead of the fair Rapunzel, he was met by the evil grin of the nasty enchantress. He had used Rapunzel's hair to trick him. "Fool," she mocked, "the bird you seek no longer sits in the nest. Rapunzel is lost to you. You will never see her again." The prince's heart broke into two. "My love has gone, and now I have nothing to live for." With a cry of despair, he threw himself from the tower window. The enchantress cackled with glee. "Dear prince, you should look before you leap." With a click of fingers, a tangled wall of thorn sprang up around the base of the tower. The prince fell into a cruel barb and was lost from sight. The enchantress assumed that the prince was dead, and so failed to notice him clambering out of the thorns. His clothes ragged and torn, he had survived the guessome trap, but his eyes had been pierced by the wicked thorns. He was blind. 4 months he wandered the land, calling Rapunzel's name. At the length he came to the desert and began to cross its blistering hot sands. It was then that he heard the voice. It was familiar to him, singing sad lullaby. Filled with hope, the prince pressed onward, following the sound. It led him to a cool dark cave where Rapunzel was waiting. On seeing the prince, she ran into his arms weeping. The moment her sparkling tear touched his eyes, the prince's vision cleared. "I can see," he declared happily. Overcome with joy, the prince led Rapunzel out of the barren, hot desert. Together they traveled to his father's castle, where they lived with happily ever after. "Oops, the clock is ticking. It's already time, children. I need to go then." And that's the end of the story. I hope all of you are enjoying to listening my story. Just follow my Facebook and Instagram for more new update stories. Please subscribe my YouTube channel at Javier Tadle. Just hit the button like and don't forget to subscribe. See you there. Bye.
Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend. You have been the one. You have been the one for me.